Alright, welcome to my new playthrough of Fear and Hunger 2 Termina. In this playthrough, I will be playing as Abella. I'm not going to go for any specific one ending. I'm just going to see how the game plays out over time and then go from there. I'll try to include as much of the party dialogue as possible, as well as I'll be commentating over most things, as well as lore with like the books. Just overall, like just stuff in the world to really flesh out the game, make it unique. So without further ado, let's begin. Class Mechanic, age 27. The mechanic is adept at crafting her own makeshift weapons and traps. Along with mechanical skills, she also understands more complicated machinery. I couldn't think of a name after a while, so I'm just going to stick with Abella. And we're going to be playing on the base difficulty, Fear and Hunger mode. The soothing sound of the rail tracks. You are not used to such peaceful and tranquil atmosphere. You can't help but let your mind wander. You reminisce what has led you to this point in life. Despite your homeland suffering greatly from the First Great War, you had a peaceful and balanced childhood, with both of your parents and many siblings. The northern capital of Oldegard was rebuilding their destroyed cities, when news about hostilities in the Eastern Europa were broadcasted on the radio. It sounded like the beginning of another worldwide war. You were still too young to take part in defending your borders, so you had to figure out an alternate way to help out your home front. You had a knack for mechanics and electronics, so ultimately it came down to those two lines of studies. We are going to be learning mechanics. You learn wrench toss. Because you were the eldest child, you had a natural habit of taking care of those around you. Many of your close relatives marched to battle, and nothing could have gotten you more frustrated than your inability to help people more directly. You had already matured to adulthood, but because of your expertise in engineering, your role on the battlefront was more important than what you could have achieved on the battlefield. The home front was in disorder too. Someone had to step up and cover for all the missing men that were now dying far away on some remote battlefields. Your broad shoulders could carry the burden and the increased workload. They had to, because if not you, then who? During one particularly stormy night, while you were returning home after your 12-hour day, you ran into a foreign man on a rain-soaked alleyway. The man noticed you and desperately tried to run for it, only to collapse after a weakly 10 meters or so. The man had been shot to the belly. Upon searching his possessions, you found his documents that said he was from the Kingdom of Rondon, an allied country of Oldegards. You thought about what to do for a moment, and then you took the man back home and treated his wounds. The man had stayed unconscious for a week, but slowly recovered thanks to your attentive mending. As days went by, he saw your eagerness to help and frustration towards the war. He then revealed his business in Oldegard. He was part of an underground resistance organization called the Nameless Liberty Underground, NLU in short. The organization had been brewing hidden from watching eyes since the dawn of the First Great War. NLU worked across Europa, trying to subdue the advancement of both the Bremen Army and the Eastern Union. The man had important documents that needed to be taken to the Kingdom of Rondon as soon as possible. Because he couldn't obviously take them there himself, he asked if you could take his role. You had been hoping for a chance to work on something bigger, and this opportunity seemed to be just that. You packed your bags and set out. As a thanks for his rescue, the man gave you his officer's sword. You traveled through Europa all the way to the Kingdom of Rondon. You found a meeting point described by the man and made contact with his colleagues. After talking briefly about the current situation in the Eastern Europa, you were asked to join the organization. They were running low on members, and your expertise would surely come handy. You were led to the headquarters, and you got to choose how you'd offer with help. Let's help with creating weapons. You learned weapon craft. NLU had spies everywhere in Europa and beyond. Combining various information snippets gathered from across the continent, you were able to unravel parts of a larger scheme. The Eastern Union had been working on something malevolent and ill-boding in the country of Bohemia, and it seemed like Bremen wanted to get their hand on this project. Your deductions got a lot more weight when you heard that the Bremen army finally occupied Bohemia. NLU sent some of their members immediately to the capital of Bohemia, Prehevil, but you quickly lost contact to them. The organization decided to wait and see if their members would surface, but you couldn't just sit back and hope for the best. You decided to take the first train towards Prehevil and find out what was going on. You were told that if you needed support in your mission, you'd recognize the leader of the Bohemian branch of NLU from her red shoes. With this little information about the task at hand, how did you prepare for the trip? Let's stock up on some spare parts. You managed to find 4 bolts, 2 duct tape, 2 pressure plates, and 3 scrap metal. You felt tense since the moment you embarked on this journey. Every night, you'd see nightmares of the horrors that would await you in Prehevil. Are they just nightmares? You can't help but feel that there is more to the dreams than mere logic would dictate. You feel like someone was watching you while you slept. Your working overalls. Did you forget to change your clothes? You could have sworn you were wearing something different. Excuse me? No answer. Excuse me? No answer as well. You search the luggage and you find 3 matches. An old pamphlet. There doesn't appear to be anything interesting printed on it. The door won't open. It seems to be locked from outside. White file. A wall of suitcases. Something feels off. This place, it's not the train anymore. You! I've been looking for you everywhere. Just where did you think you ran off to? Don't you understand the hurry we are in? I don't understand. The eyes of the janitor bulge out from the sockets as his expression intensifies. No one expects you to. You're a stupid fucking human after all. Now get your ass back to the workbench. This is your last chance. Next time, it's punishing time. What am I supposed to do? What? You're supposed to assemble new cubes, of course. As for how, figure it out yourself. If you're not capable of that much, you're beyond hope and useless in every sense of the word. What you Googling at? There's nothing to see here. Eyes on the cubes. Work or I'll rip those eyes out of your pretty face. The girl in pink is trying to get your attention. Where do you think you're going? Your head hurts. You feel like you're losing your mind. Ah, there you are. A mysterious person greets you in a monotonous voice. I got you pulled out from that nasty place. You were going too deep into that rabbit hole. Now, you are safe under the beautiful green hue of the moon. Welcome to the Moon Tower. What is going on? That is what I'm here for. To explain the situation you are currently facing. To explain the greater once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that is befallen within your grasp. Since our words cannot possibly reach my master, I speak in his behalf. And who might my master be? Well, for now, let's just say that he is the delinquent one, Rear, the trickster moon god. And me? You can call me Percola. I am just a humble servant of his celestial majesty. You are the dreamer. He is the dream. My master has invited 14 of you to join us in this jubilee of cosmic proportions. 14 candidates, but only one true victor. The Festival of Termina is upon us. What is the Festival of Termina? It is a festival to give you, the humans, a peak to grandeur and a chance to reach for illustrious heights. The festival to end all festivals. This must be all very confusing to you. I won't burden you with any more information at the very moment. Just head towards the tower. That is all you need to know for now. I will gladly answer questions once you get there. But until that, let us meet again under the moonlight. You wake up suddenly. Was it all just a dream? The train, it seems to have stopped. These seats are perfectly suited for resting. You just need to clear out all the papers out from the way first. You find a combat manual and a Prehevil map. So before we continue, I just want to clarify some things. I don't think I mentioned it at the beginning, so I'll mention it now. Like I said, probably, I can't remember to be honest, I will be going for whatever ending appears for me, I guess, as the game goes on. Just whatever happens, kind of like that. I will be trying to commentate on most things, and I will try to include the party dialogue and read as many of the books as I can, just for lore-wise and stuff, just to flesh out the game. But other than yeah, let's continue. So, a beginner's guide to survival in combat on a battlefield. This manual depicts basics of survival in a close combat situation, as well as on the field. The following teachings can be applied both on the battlefield and in your everyday life. Lesson 1. Strategic Dismemberment. Sever different limbs of the enemy to best subdue their attacks. If the enemy is carrying a weapon, it might be best to deal with that particular limb first. Going straight for the head might seem tempting, but attacking such a guarded body point in the heat of a battle might prove out to be difficult. Taking out legs will often rock the balance of the enemy, and make them vulnerable for headshots. Lesson 2. Rev up. As the fight goes on, you will get more revved up naturally, as indicated with your eye points increasing every turn. Use 1 or 2 eye points to boost your strength, or 3 to add an additional attack to your string. There are also different skills that require rev points. These are mentioned in the skill descriptions. Lesson 3. Devastating attacks. Sometimes the enemy might be preparing for a devastating attack. These attacks cause massive damage or other status ailments that prove out to be insufferable. Most of the time, these attacks are telegraphed somehow on the previous turn and you can see them coming. You can either dodge devastating attacks by guarding, or you can risk it all and face the Coin of Judgment. The Coin of Judgment is your last chance in dodging the incoming attack. You can affect your chances by throwing a lucky coin into the mix by holding the shift key while you choose either heads or tails. Ultimately, your fate will be chosen by the higher powers. Lesson 4. Shooting. You can use various different firearms on the field before even initiating a combat encounter to weaken or to kill the enemy before they get within striking distance. Just have a firearm equipped, some ammo to spare, and press shift. The effects of your attack may vary from enemy to enemy. Some weaker foes might even get killed from a single hit. Lesson 5. Running. Hold shift to run. Running slowly depletes your stamina. If you run out of stamina entirely, you'll need a short recovery time to catch your breath before being able to run again. If an enemy spots you, you will go into tension mode, where stamina depletes at an alarming rate. This tense moment will luckily pass by fairly fast. If you have firearms equipped, you can't run. No running and gunning. If you have injured legs, no running either. There's a lot more to survival, but hopefully these lessons will aid you to get started. Good luck. So this is Preheville. We are starting here, and our goal is to make it to the Hollow Tower. The man in the suit is talking to himself. He seems to be completely lost in his own thoughts. Salaryman, I'm late already, so late. So, you're saying we're stuck here? Pretty much. There's something going on there. Man with checkered pants. The engine won't start. There must be something wrong with it. You overhear a discussion. Girl with pigtails. Oh, the pretty lady got up. Who are you? What's going on? Oh, well, there were people still inside the train? We really don't know what's going on. The train left us all here at the outskirts of the city. All the train personnel, everyone, just gone. No explanations. I tried to check up on the train, but couldn't get it to move an inch. Now, I'm no train driver, but I'd say the thing is busted. Maybe I can help. I know a thing or two about trains. Oh, well, aren't we in luck? Let me change into my working overalls first. Sure thing. You change your outfit back into the working overalls. You just had these in your dream. Was the dream an omen? Looking sharp. You're ashamed to admit it, but you feel the most at home in this attire. You examine the engine, and yet you find nothing wrong with it. So how does it look? Everything looks fine to me. Oh? Well then, it's a mystery, all right. Maybe it's better we just wait for the train personnel to return in that case. If you're not in a hurry, I recommend just taking a seat inside and trying to relax. Maybe we could introduce ourselves, says the girl with glasses. Sure. My name is Marina. My name is Olivia. Lovely to meet you all. You can call me August. Karen Sawyer, a journalist on duty. Hey, I'm Henrique. If you need any help with anything, let me know. And this mystique gentleman over here is Osa. It was Osa, right? Silly man. I'm pretty sure it was. We were the first to wake up. Before you came out, we were talking about this. You saw a peculiar nightmare as well, didn't you? You saw a dream too? Everyone saw the same dream before waking up in the train. The moon, the girl in a pink dress, the festival of Termina. It all felt too real to pass off as just a dream. Not this talk again. We should have asked that army pig, that Bremen pig. He was in way too much of a hurry to leave. I bet he knew something. This smells like a sadistic army experiment. It sounds exactly like something the Bremen army would be a part of. They had similar hallucinogens experimented on war prisoners. Now that the war is over, they have to get their guinea pigs elsewhere. I wish I had your capacity at Feist, but I really have a hard time believing every conspiracy theory floating around. I'm a journalist. I've covered wars, you know. I don't need some flaky, eye-patched foreigner telling me what's possible and what's not. You haven't seen what I've seen during these past few years. I've covered wars too, you know. All men and women for the past decade or two have covered wars. What's your point again? I've seen my fair share of hallucinogens as a doctor, and I can tell from a first-hand experience that there are no known chemicals that create visions that vivid. Especially visions that are identical with this many people. You can feel the tension rising between these two. I take it that we're done here. As much as I'd like it, I don't have time to play happy campers with you people. I have a job to do. Which way is the city? Look up there, over the forest top. Can you see that tower standing erect in the mist? That tower marks the center of Preheville. You can hike through the forest to get there. It's not that far away. Alright then. If I see anyone, I'll let you know that the guys are waiting here. Have fun finding a scoop from that sleepy town. You know where to find us if anything comes up. What are you going to do? I don't know. Wait here, I guess. I'm not in a hurry. I couldn't help but notice your accent. You are from the old country of Oldegard, are you not? That's right. It always gives me such a warm feeling to hear the accent of the good and honest people of the north. You see, my family roots come from Oldegard as well. My grandfather used to talk to me in his mother tongue when I was just a small child. I'm 1/4 Oldegardian, that is. I can understand the language perfectly well, although my speech might not be quite as fluent, I'm afraid. During my younger years, I visited the country a dozen times, but it has been way too long since my last trip there. The green valleys, the endless forests, and the 1,000 lakes call me. Maybe after my current business trip, I will finally settle down there and enjoy the long, snowy winters and the bright summer nights when the sun never sets. I thought there was something familiar about your looks. Oh, you humble me with your words. To say such a thing is the highest compliment you could give me. Well, where are you from then, if not from Oldegard? I've lived a full nomad life all my time, traveling from one country to another. It is almost like a family tradition at this point. We have always been on the road for generations. But I wanted that tradition to stop at me. My 2 children live with their mother in Volland. I do not consider it my home country per se, but I suppose that it's the closest to one I got. In any case, I do want my children to have some sense of stability. Maybe it's time I take them to see their roots in Oldergard. You're making me homesick as well. Ha! It must be in our genes then. The northern wind summons us no matter where we travel. I think I should get inside. The mist is creeping in. Can we talk about the dream? Oh yes, of course. What do you think the dream means? Maybe it was a premonition? I really hope not. I don't want to see that place ever again. This forest creeps me out. Oh? Well, I think the forest bed here is very fascinating. There seems to be all kinds of medical herbs growing around. Maybe I should head for that town too. Oh hey. What's your story? My story? The name's Henrique, 32, a chef, single, my zodiac sign, the suffocated soul. What else? Let's see. What else? Well, what brings you here? That is private. Man's gotta keep at least some of his secrets. What do you think about the dream? That person at the top of the tower, he said something that got me thinking. He told the exact number of the people who were on the train. Well, there isn't 14 of us here now. There was 14. Few of the people left the train before you woke up. You remember what he said next? He said that only one of us can win this game. That sounds pretty sinister to me. How long do we have to wait here? That's a good question. Honestly, I don't think anyone is coming here anytime soon. What is it that you want? What is your story? My story is none of your concern. Besides, I do not wish to bore you with such tedious and dragged-out story. Your colorful attire got my attention. It is a traditional wear for my kind. I am a yellow mage. I recognized the clothing. We are not as known to the public as we once were. What business do you have here? Do you think I could have come here for the festival? You know what the festival is? I know about it. The secrets are painted on the wall clear as day. Not as clear as Prehvillian Day, of course. It is quite misty here today. Maybe there's some wisdom in that, too? I need to write that down. What do you think about the dream? It was interesting. What about you? What do you think of it? It was just a dream. Ha! I like your approach to life. No need to overcomplicate matters. Introduce yourself. He doesn't seem to be interested in small talk. Then again, these army barricades suggest that maybe there is something to that crazy theory of hers. Nah, something doesn't seem right here. What do you plan to do? I'll probably just head out too. There's no telling how long it takes for someone to come for this train. Besides, the city is right around the corner. Good afternoon. It's Kita Tanaka. Good to make your acquaintance. It's really troublesome what has come of our train trip, especially when you have a big meeting scheduled at the city. Do you want to travel together? I'm afraid I will have to refuse your company. I really need to hurry, and I think I'll do best alone. If you'd excuse me, I really need to hurry now. Okay. The Sleepy One. What's your story? My story? You gotta be more specific. I'm too complicated for just a few lines of dialogue. Well, what brings you here? It's my hometown. I'm originally from Preheville, but I'd never admit it in a conversation that I was from such a depressing and godforsaken small town. So you will only make yourself look stupid if you go spreading the word. Well, where are you returning from? From studies. I've been studying occultism for about 6 years in the Vatican City. Feeling like slitting my wrists right about now. I'm not exactly a fan of the Prehevillian melancholy. What do you think about the dream? Oh yeah, it was cool. There's something bothering me though. No one talked much about the moon. That rapist smile will leave a scar in my subconscious for sure. Maybe it's just because I've been studying this stuff for a majority of my life, but I think it was a vision meant for us to decipher. It just seems obvious, you know? That's why I have a hard time believing that conspiracy stuff the other guys were talking about. What are you doing? Just felt a little artistic. Actually, I hate drawing. I'm really bad at it. Luckily, ritual circles don't require the same skills. You pick up a green herb. And now, we are on our way to the Hollow Tower. Right there. An egg. Blue herb. Rotten meat on a platter. You find rotten meat. There are maggots crawling inside the piece. You are not entirely sure what this plan is. Is it poisonous or not? Maybe it's better to leave it be. An eerie silence fills the air, devoid of any life. A hacked-off arm. There's a ritual circle carved here. You could actually use it if you had something to draw with. What is that? What on earth is going on? They are dead. This is horrible. Should we report about this to someone? The local police? Prairieville Old Town in the Maiden Woods. The mist slowly creeps in from the deeper woods. Termina is upon us. I don't know what that was about, but that guy did not seem all right in the head. You hear distant screams and ramblings. You are not alone. It looks like someone is standing still in the darkness. A striking smell of mold fills the damp cottage. There is some used toilet paper here. A bloody toilet hole. The seatings are covered in blood, feces, and semen. The smell is beyond anything you've ever experienced before. It brings up an immediate gag reflex. There's absolutely nothing inside except the previously mentioned blood, feces, and semen. A bloody ritual crucifix. They used to have these in the olden times, but you've never actually seen one in person. The smell and sight of the sacrificed corpses is repulsive, and you feel like throwing up. The villager raises his scythe in an aggressive stance. The situation got dangerous all of a sudden. Hold on, I don't want to start a fight. Your words are in vain. The villager is clearly out for blood. The villager sets up a bear trap. Throw your pipe wrench at the enemy with devastating force, a chance of stun, and it requires a pipe wrench to be equipped first. A tool used for assembling a wide variety of things can be used as blunt weapons as well. Sturdy workers' overalls. They offer decent protection and are especially efficient against fire. The lone villager stumbles upon your path. Actually, you know what? Let's go through all the descriptions. A short kitchen knife. What it lacks in size, it makes up in speed. A sword of an army officer. Swords like these don't see much use these days, but they are kept around as more of a tradition. The monstrosity is down. No reaction, but each kick gives you satisfaction. You took the villager head as a trophy. The gate is locked firmly with 2 different padlocks. The other padlock has a carving of an eagle, and the other has a carving of a 2-tailed lion. A striking smell of mold fills the damp cottage. The books have been neglected entirely. They are in too bad of a condition. The refrigerator is leaking dirty water. You find a white vial. Charred black matter. Someone actually made this? It does look like food, but there seems to be pasta in there somewhere. With some effort, you are able to chip away some of the black matter with you. A shady picture of a shady person. There is something sinister in his expression. Let's go tails. You find a bear trap. It's hard to see anything through the mist. Various different vials and bottles are stored here. They all seem grimy and useless to you. That was a close one. A tool used for harvesting crops. It also has a long history as a weapon of choice for civilians. A severed arm and leg. Cupboards only store dirty laundry. The basement has been used to store useless junk. Other man's trash is your trash too in this case. Another ritual circle, but the symbol in the middle is different from the other one we saw. You find Alchemilia Volume 2. A book for intermediate level alchemy. Contains recipes for the murky vial, the white vial, and the yellow vial. The intermediate level of alchemy. Alchemilia Volume 2. The effects of different colored alchemic substances are listed here. Yellow plus oil equals highly flammable. Blue plus phlium amanita is antidote for the poison. You don't see anything besides darkness inside. The door is locked with a simple lock. The sign says closed until tomorrow. Chained up coffins. The chains seem reinforced and really difficult to open up. No reaction. You cannot hear anything from inside. A reek of death emanates from the lone alleyways. You find a pipe. The basement seems damp and dark from up here, as if something lurks down there waiting for you. The air down here is heavy, moist, and musky. Random junk fill the shelves. You find 2 bolts. Find the Tale of Pocket Cat, Chapter 1. The first chapter of an old fairy tale that used to scare children from wandering off on their own. This particular copy seems faithful to the original, unlike the modern, watered-down versions of the story. The Tale of Pocket Cat, Chapter 1. It was a rainy day in the countryside, just north of the forest of Merwood. Willem, the most mischievous child known in the town, stared at the raindrops behind his window screen, just longing for an adventure. His mother would warn him of going outside. Rain brings forth all kinds of dangers not otherwise known to little boys. During downpour, decent boys should help their parents with various household chores instead. Being the pompous boy he was, Willem refused to give a helping hand. The consequences of such refusals were all too familiar to William. He'd get sentenced to bed without a dinner, and so he did. Crying under his blanket, fits of Willem's anger brought forth his reflection from a mirror on the wall. The boy from the mirror introduced himself as Milu, the sleeping twin brother of Willem, that came to this world far too early, and thus he could only view the world from the land of opposites. Milu wanted to warn his brother of the coming calamity, but his words echoed from the land of opposites, and so they came out all wrong. Now his words encouraged Willem to join the coming adventure that was heading his way. Heading fast, in fact. The adventure had already squeezed itself through a small keyhole on the window frame. A large beetle man climbed in from the window. The beetle man was tall, taller than Willem's father, and rounder than his father as well. The face of the beetle man was obscured. He wore a similar mask with Willem's grandfather had worn in the war to avoid gas from melting his eyes and burning his lungs. Turkalo, the beetle man, had an urgent mission for Willem. You see, the ancient kingdom Turkalo came from was under a serious threat, and Willem was the only boy who could help. Willem was a bit hesitant, but Turkalo was already forcing the boy out from his bedroom window out to the rain. "We got no time for thinkin'," said Turkalo. The beetleman showed the way up with his lantern. Only Willem had trouble keeping up with the pace as Turkalo flew fast deep inside the merwood with his man-beetle wings. Turkalo's lantern got more distant until Willem couldn't see it no more. Hopeless and now lost in the woods, he started crying, not unlike how small song thrush chicks cry and beg for their mother for food. And just like that, a giant song thrush grabbed Willem and took him to a treetop nest full of chicks fighting for their place in the world. Willem tried to beg for a tasty worm from the bird mother, but competition was fierce. Those chicks knew that to succeed in life, you have to push the competition over nest boundaries. Willem tried to struggle, but ultimately fell off the nest. Just as he was about to meet his maker, Turkalo scooped by him and grabbed Willem with his cold man-beetle arms. You find a Soul Devourer necklace. A silver necklace with a soul stone embedded on it. The stone protects against otherworldly powers. Old suitcases and houseware. Everything seems more or less worthless here. There are boxes full of papers here. They don't seem important. You find a saw blade. A lone villager stumbles on your path. Abella lost her left leg. It's bleeding heavily. Oh, you can't run anymore. There's a wooden chest here. The book contains the basics of occult and magic. Information about the ritual circles can be found here. The Occult Grimoires, Magic in Theory and Practice, written by Samiri Zimri and translated by Oscar Renti. So that one doesn't lose his mind along with the soul, one must come prepared for all situations. The basics of any knowledge are always the most important. You need steady foundations in order to build the tower to the gods. To perform any rites on a ritual circle, the founding circle must be carved first. From top to bottom, the first one is the asymmetric circle. The asymmetric circle represents the older gods and their one-sided redistribution of power. The second one is called the imperfect circle. The imperfect circle is the mark of the new gods, who have strived for perfection since their conception, never to attain it truly. And the last one is called the perfection circle. The perfection circle represents countless spiraling circles culminating in the birth of the ascended ones, the ones who were able to go beyond human limits. One must never assign sigils not meant for their founding circles. That is the lesson meant to be taken from here. The beauty of these rites is that you cannot change them, but they can change you. The altar of the new gods. To appease the ones sitting at the grand hall, you must put forth a worthy offering. There's someone there. Hey, are you okay? There's random junk on the shelf. Papers, files, and folders. A terrible stench oozes from the refrigerator. You find a white vial. Find a Bremen Elite helmet. The helmet clearly takes inspiration from ancient Lombardia, where fighters clad in armor would duel for people's entertainment. The door is locked with a simple lock. A lone villager stumbles on your path. A dead body. It seems to be in a relatively fresh state of decomposition. It's hard to make sure of the cause of death. There's no such physical trauma present. Maybe he suffered a heart attack? Or did he die because of some other disease or poison? There's something bulging in the corpse's pocket. It's a small booklet that's rolled up. You find the Soldier's Diary 1. A diary of a Bremen soldier that arrived to this area recently. What backwater parts these dark corners of the earth really are. When I heard about this assignment, I figured the city of Preheville was at least decent sized, and there would surely be some entertainment to be had with the local dancers and street girls. But alas, I'm not too keen on getting that comfy with the locals after sightseeing the city a bit. Frankly, I'm baffled at how a city of this size has managed to stay so isolated from the neighboring influences in modern times. The Preheville folk still hold on tightly to religious rites as old as the Fellowship itself. The human sacrifices creep me out in this day and age. Even if I've seen the horrors of war, the crucifixes set around the city manage to send a chill down my spine. Okay, so this is the mayor's manor. You search the urn for anything useful. You find an ornament lantern. Vials and bottles that seem to contain detergent and washing agent. They are of no use to you. Skin Bible, Chapter of Almer. A strong occult book written in the medieval times by Enki Arcarian. The chapter explains the older god, Almer. Almer, the Ascended one of the two human-born gods known to this day. There are two stories of the origins of Almer. The more common story speaks of a human born from a virgin mother, a mere mortal that had humble origins, but one that quickly rose to prominence because of his teachings. Unlike the warring kings and sultans of the time, Almer's ideal world united people of all different religions and ideologies under one umbrella. The powers of the time wouldn't stand up for this, and quickly had him arrested and sentenced for a public humiliation and eventual death on a cross. This only served Almer's purpose, making him a martyr, and the pain he went through pushed him over the edge to his ascension to true godhood. After his ascension, Almer returned to avenge his death. The bloodbath that ensued shook the world order and demolished the worship new gods of the time had been enjoying. The other version of Almer's origins tells how Sylvian, the older god of fertility, ordered a deity known as Vitruvia to create an architectural reprography of a man and a woman that would be to the likeness of Sylvian herself. Vitruvia, being the master architect, did just that. Sylvian fell in love with the results. She went on to create the mankind according to Vitruvia's drawings. At first, Vitruvia was amazed by the life Sylvian managed to usher into her designs. However, over time, Vitruvia started to see small imperfections here and there. Nothing bothered her more than the idea that her designs were anything but perfect. So, she set out to create the perfect human being, the pinnacle of man's potential. This being was born on the year nil, and he was the one known as Almer today. On the surface level, these stories don't contradict with themselves too much, but on an ideological level, there are interesting differences. The other story tells how a mortal everyday man rose to rival the power of older gods, while the older story makes Almer just one more creation of the higher powers. The truth might lie somewhere between these stories if you'd ask me. The mark of Almer raises the physical protection of its wielder. The text includes the sigil of Almer and the instructions on how to use it. You find Mahav. A book about the ancient city of Mahav. The sights of Mahav. You've seen them too, haven't you? In your dreams, you wander for one lifetime with a silhouette of this city and horizon. You have seen the twin towers that rise next to a black night sky. Those macabre obelisks telling tales of some older, more cruel age. You have seen the grand gate with its maddening murals and spirals, patterns beyond understanding. It's not like the sound of wind hallowing between those hollow streets wasn't enough. You also hear the sound of local residents, even while all comprehension would dictate that this place is long abandoned. You still hear them. You are not alone in this vile part of the world. In your dreams, you have seen it, haven't you? The city of Mahab, the city of gods. Did you know it exists here? You find the Man in the Dreams flyer. A flyer with an eerily familiar face. Have you seen this man in the dreams? Over the past week or so since the full moon, people all over Preheville and its neighboring settlements see this face in their dreams every night. If you are one of them, if you have any confirmation that can help us identify this person, please contact us. The flyer tells to contact us, but but there's no contact information to be found from the flyer. You find Recipes of the 15th Century, Volume 1. The first volume of the cookbook series contains recipes for the meat and vegetable pies. The book contains traditional recipes dating back to 15th century cuisine. The recipes are collected from the memoirs of the infamous Chef Vanders that worked at the royal kitchen of Rondon at the time. It appears that Chef Anders gained infamy by seducing court ladies and was even rumored to have a fling with the Princess Elizabeth, the famous virgin princess. Now that you look at it, the book seems to be more about royal gossip than food recipes. Between all this romance and betrayal, you find recipes of Chef Anders' famous meat pie and vegetable pie. '17th century poetry is left here open. The language has changed a great deal since then, and you don't bother seeing the effort right now. Alchemilia, Volume 1. A book for beginner-level alchemy. Contains recipes for the blue vial and simple mixed herbs. The Basics of Alchemy, Alchemilia, Volume 1. The effects of different herbs and plants are listed here. Blue. Blue herb has healing properties. It's often rubbed against open wounds and injuries. The effects are almost immediate. Green. Green herbs are commonly used as open wounds to prevent infections. Red. Red herbs have little to no effect on their own, but when used together with other herbs, they have boosting effects. And lavender. The smell of lavender can be used to ease anxiety and fear. It is also said to keep bees away. Blue plus red equals greater healing properties. Green plus red equals antidote for mild poisons. And blue plus blue equals a blue vial. The Preheville document. Looking back at the history of this place, there has been a settlement here for as long as history books cover the area. It has always centered around the mysterious hollow tower that works as the central pillar of the community. The city flourished during the Cruel Age in the 1600s, but it quickly fell from prominence the closer we got to modern times. I understand the city is medium in size as far as cities in Eastern Europa go, but still, I find it hard to believe that this place would serve as a hub of any kind in a civilized world. For some reason, the government officials insist that Preheville keeps its capital identity, despite it being one of the more remote and unwelcoming cities in all of Bohemia, if not all of Europa. The only explanation I can come up with is that the country is proud of the old archaic rites that still go down in this city, and they want to show their full support. If you were to visit Preheville and sightsee its small center, you'd see glimpses of its ancient glory days, still well and alive in these modern times. Do not let the Western-style shopping district with its latest movie posters and advertisements fool you. The locals still worship the old world order in the dank and crumbling parts of the town. Ritualistic murder sites are just around the corner no matter where you are in the city. While the churches look to be dedicated to our one true God, Almer, from the outside, insides tell a whole different story. Ancient gods without name in any known language still linger in those crypts, and why wouldn't they? You can hear the priests chant their masses in the moonlit alleys during the dead of the night. The whole wicked city is a playground for the ancient beings, and the people living there offer themselves to the first taker without second thought. A bottle of beer. The beer is inside is murky and it helps you stay sane in the ever-pressing darkness. From afar, the statue looked convincing and nice, but upon a closer look, it's pretty crude. The hallway is blocked by these chairs. For Almer's sake. You startled me. I'm always happy to see your glorious figure, love, but give me a little warning next time, alright? Now, if you'd excuse me. His eyes are darting around the ceiling. He is seemingly distressed. Are you okay? Can you hear that? I can hear a clock, but I can't see the goddamn thing. I can smell rosemary and garlic. I'm starving. He's got a crazed expression on his face. You notice his eyes gazing right through you. I can smell it, definitely. You can't fool me. Snap out of it. Oh? Oh? Sorry about that. I don't know what got into me. First, I was just lost in my thoughts, but next, those thoughts consumed me. There's something wrong about this place. I came here to find something to eat. Not just for me, of course. Food for the people at the train. I figured there could be my way of helping everyone in this situation. You saw all the food at the dinner table. This used to be the mayor's manor. He must have stashed all the food somewhere. Help me find the food storage and we'll be out of here. The walls are covered with paintings, backdrops, portraits, and abstract pictures. Melancholy seems to be the only thing they have in common. A random selection of books are left here, none of which catch your interest. A key found from the mayor's manor in the Preville Old Town. The key looks pretty plain with some light scratches here and there. A simple armor made from hardened leather. Offers decent protection and it's not too heavy. You find a rusty pipe. Find a bear trap. You take the fluted fald. A fald that clearly belongs to a larger setup, most likely to an armor set. On its own, it already offers decent protection. You can't make sense of the writing. It doesn't look like any known language to you. It's pulsating. This must be the food storage of the old town. There's a wooden chest here. A plank shield. A simple makeshift shield offers a little bit of protection. Skin Bible, Chapter of Vanishka. A strong occult book written in the medieval times by Enki and Carrion. The chapter explains the older god Vanishka. The cycle of destruction and creation is seen in its purest form in nature. Thus, it comes as no surprise that the very god of nature, Vanishka, is an offspring of the two older gods, Grogaroth and Sylvian. Like the nature of mankind, the nature of Vanishka, too, can change from fiery, raging volcanoes to serene grasslands where a gentle wind lulls one to sleep. The similarities between the nature and mankind are fitting, as both grew up sucking the many bosoms of Sylvian after all. Both were born from the same loins. Vanishka and the representation of humanity, Almer, the ascended one, are considered equal. Neither of the two stands taller. What is Vanishka's is for men to reap, just as nature reaps our old and weary. The mark of Vanishka raises the otherworldly offense of its wielder. The text includes the sigil of Vanishka and the instructions on how to use it. I found the food store. Wait. Are you feeling alright now? I'm okay. Don't worry. I got my focus back, baby. How did you get here? It's dangerous outside. The same way you got here. What kind of question is that? But you're right. It is dangerous. What the hell is wrong with the people of this godforsaken place? I found the food storage. You did? Lead the way. Jackpot, this is it. Oh, this is the stuff. It's the famous Bohemian truffle. The mayor must have gathered all this together when the shit hit the fan. You could barricade yourself here for months with this much goodies around. I'll pick up the ingredients for a great dinner. For how many people? Maybe 14, just in case. Yeah. Hey, I also found something interesting. Maybe you'll find use for these. You get the sewer keys. I figure you could get to the city with these. In any case, I'll see you back at the train in a minute. Don't forget to join the dinner. A set of dirty and rusty keys. One of the keys got carving text saying sewers. You can see footprints on the thick layer of dust. The lone rifleman saw you. This rifle seems to be out of shape and broken. You find .303 ammo. took the rifleman head. This must be the television room. The entire room is focused on this television set. It's too bad it's useless because of the lack of electricity. Rotten meat. The atmosphere is getting heavier and heavier. A crazed villager runs straight at you in a blind fury. You miserable piece of... I mean no harm. Then you're in the worst possible place on Earth. A vial full of murky liquid, highly flammable. Old-fashioned meat pie, rather easy to do. Old-fashioned pie made from various vegetables. A mixture of blue and green herbs, or blue and red herbs that are especially potent. The man is crying in pain. What is going on here? Leave me be. Just leave. The crazed villager is in a frenzy, peeling his face off. Take it off, please! Just look at me. Just look at me. What is going on here? Deflated lip, hanging eyelids, comb my face. Rusty iron pipe with hefty weight can cause momentary stun. So we're on the other side of Old Town right now. A wall of severed heads. The heads seem to be in varying states of rot. The earliest heads look like several weeks old, while the most recent one seems to be freshly cut. The dark corner of the unwanted and the undesired, where they dumped the disease, stillborn, and now the moon scorched. Welcome, O fresh one. Welcome to the shit pit of Prayville. What is going on here? The high priests of the city, they want to have their cake both ways. They spit on us and condemn our depraved ways, but when the time comes for the ceremonial gifts to their unknown gods, they take their elevator down there. Nice decoration you have here, under the ever-watching eye of the dead. I want more, though. I want the one who swiped half the town down, the woodsman. Then I want the one who condemned us down here. I want the filthy priest. I'll see what I can do. Show no remorse. Let their blood flow. The flickering light of the bonfire soothes you, despite the horrors awaiting you outside. Itchy. I scratch and scratch and scratch and scratch. What is going on here? The cold light that burns. What cold light? You are the same. You'll see. You'll come to understand. It's crawling under my skin. Crawling! What is going on here? Crawling. Rusty pipe. Yeah, wrench toss is kind of overpowered early on. It burns. Burns cold. What is going on here? The moon scorched this land. It scorched us too. There's an old rusty hatch here. It's too dark down there. You cannot see anything but darkness. It seems to be some kind of maintenance tunnel going deep underground. You cannot hear or see anything down there. This tunnel leads into ever-pressing darkness. There is an electric panel here. You don't really know what to do with it. The elevator door seems to be stuck from this side. I gouged my eyes out, but I still see the green hue. What is going on here? You can't just quit. We tried it, but it won't stop. Green hue? It devours everything. man is crying hysterically. He has scratch marks all over him. His skin is hanging loose on his cheekbones. What is going on here? What? What? We are the ones who survived. I guess they're a good source of food early on. All that dried meat come in handy. The person is barely alive. You can already hear the death rattle coming from him. You find tobacco. He is dead now. Doing good on heads so far. The lone rifleman stumbles upon your path. So this is going to be the entrance to the sewers, but we're going to leave that for now. I'll do that later. An eerie silence fills the air, devoid of any life. There's something hidden inside the fallen tree. You find 15 shillings and an old bottle of beer. Why were they hidden here? Praihieville, Old Town, the Maiden Woods. Oh, we're back at the train. Oh, hi, Henrique. The flickering light of the bonfire soothes you. Ah, you're just in time for dinner. What are you making? I'm making basic goulash. It's a local delicacy, a stew of meat and vegetables seasoned with paprika and mild spices. It's my own take on it, though. The bohemian food is really inspiring. You finished your dinner. It was surprisingly tasty. Very tasty. I guess I could have tweaked the spice mix a little bit. I'm glad you found it passable, though. Henrik looks happy with your reaction. What's the situation here? Pretty good. Everyone seems to like the food. I was just thinking about giving the soup a bit of a kick with some pigment, but ultimately I played it safe. I think it was the right choice to do. The others left for the city. I guess they grew tired of waiting. The doc said he'd get some help here as soon as possible. You decided to stay at the train? There's something bad going on. Bad? What do you mean? The town has gone crazy. This sounds like a plot from a suspense movie. I'm worried about the others. Would you go look for them? I don't think they've gotten far yet. What's your problem? He is looking flushed by your questions. No problems, alright? What is that circle over there? Oh, it's a little something I carved out of boredom, leaving my mark on the train, just a normal Monday in the life of a vandal. Actually, it's the perfection circle. It's used to worship certain older gods. It might come handy if you know what to do with it. I just came to check up on you. Oh, what? That's so sweet. We got in after the mist got thicker. I don't mind waiting just for a little while longer. Actually, there is a reason why I can't exactly leave the train. I have a condition where my legs don't function properly. I'll spare you the details, but suffice it to say, it makes the situation we are in even more troublesome. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Oh, no, don't worry, it's just what it is. The seat looks wide enough for you to take a rest. Welcome back. I take it that you are now acquainted with most of your fellow contestants. Keep up the pace, the festival won't last forever. Just what is going on? Since the 14 of you are such late additions to the party, your days are already running short. The festival would see its climax in just 3 days. That is how long you have. Use it wisely. What happens in 3 days? My master has a short attention span. If any of the other 13 contestants are still around when the midnight hits on day 3, well, I guess you will have to wait and see. However, it is not advised to wait until that. Do you mean I have to kill the other contestants? What you do and what you don't do is entirely up to you, of course. Do you want to kill your fellow contestants? But enough about that. Let us proceed to the services I can provide. How may I best aid you in your quest? So that's Grogeroth, Venushka, Sylvian, Rear, Almer, Fear and Hunger. And these are all of the characters. So I think this is Osa. This is, I think, Marco. Yeah, that's Marco. This is Karen. Let's save. And with that, that will conclude part 1 of my playthrough as Abella. This episode has been a pretty long one, so just bear with it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Peace.